Kamala Harris leading at the polls, and the headlines say that, oh, the stock market went higher because Kamala Harris is taking the lead in the poll. Funny they didn't say that when the market went down, that it went down because of Kamala Harris. But the media also says that Kamala Harris' presidential prospects lift consumer sentiment. Everything is now getting better because, oh my God, we have the savior. Somebody we never heard of before, but now, we're realizing that she's the savior of the country. I say that sarcastically, of course, because she's been vice president for over 3 years now. But I want to address something here because a lot of you took offense when I said, hey, the Republicans are actually losing. Kamala Harris is winning. I do believe the polls. And folks said, oh my God, are you that naive, Maverick? All of these polls are fake. Okay, if one of them comes out as an anomaly, got it. But when most of them are pointing out to that result, then I think there is truth behind it. And when you look at how the Republicans are running the campaign, one of the worst run campaigns in history right now, it should be really easy because Kamala Harris is the weakest candidate. A cockroach can beat Kamala Harris in November and become the next president of the United States. But the Republicans are not even trying. Maybe by intentions, because who the hell wants to be president when the economy is heading into a recession? Do you want to assume that responsibility? I say I'm cheering for Kamala Harris to become the next president because I want the Democrats and Kamala to assume the responsibility of what they've done in the last 3-4 years. In any case, we finally got the economic plan by the Kamala campaign. And the reception is not that good, even from the media, by the way. We got the Washington Post, aka the CIA Post, and they say the Times demands serious economic ideas. Harris supplies gimmicks. Wow, that's the Washington Post, by the way. That's not me saying it. Here's another liberal publication, The Atlantic. And they say Harris's plan is economically dumb, but politically smart. What are they talking about? They're talking about the fact that her plan is pretty much political red meat, and that's about it. There's nothing of value really in the economic plan. There is no plan. They're just gimmicks and red meat to the voters. For example, inflation is a problem. She's been in office while inflation became a problem. Solution? Create a villain, and the villain is the grocery store, the corporations. We're going to crack down on them. No more price gouging. That's the reason behind inflation, and we're going to fix it if you vote for me. Well, you're already in office right now. Can you do anything about the price gouging? And by the way, price gouging is not why we have inflation. If anything, if we look at corporate earnings, you look at any consumer staple company, their margins are actually down. They're losing money year on year. Maybe they're not doing enough price gouging, and they can't do enough price gouging because the consumer is getting weaker. So this is baloney. This is bullshit. No facts, no data, no evidence supports the fact that inflation is due to price gouging by companies selling you food at the grocery store. If anything, if you want to talk about price gouging, you know where that's happening? That's happening at the insurance companies. They just feel like raising prices higher, and what are you going to do about it? You're not going to pay for insurance? Of course you're going to pay for insurance. But Kamala Harris is not going to talk about that because the insurance companies are the top donors to political campaigns. What else in the Kamala economic plan? Here's the headline: Harris to propose up to $25,000 in down payment support for first-time home buyers. Sounds good, right? Oh my God, another free cash, $25,000 for me to buy a home? Great. Here's the catch, though. The home should be no valued more than $300,000, which means what are you going to buy? A van? A trailer? Somebody's garage that Kamala's going to help you to buy? Maybe a couch? So this is a gimmick. It doesn't really work in reality. And if you're going to give folks $25,000 for a down payment, guess what's going to happen to the price of homes? They're going to go higher again by $50,000. So the $25,000 will not do anything really to help you out. But folks, again, when it comes to politics, it's a game. It's a vicious game, and either you know how to play it and you exploit the donkey voters, or you lose. Doesn't matter if you have the best policies or the worst policies, or you're fake or you're not fake, and you gotta give it to the Democrats. They know how to play this game, and they know how to play it way better than the Republicans. I mean, look at this ad by Kamala Harris. Look at the audacity of this ad. Take a look.
A home is more than simply a house. A home represents financial security. The opportunity to build wealth that can help put your child through college, afford retirement. That's what all this represents. When we lower costs for working people, when working people can buy a home, when working people can thrive, our nation thrives.
Yvette Pack is responsible for the content of this ad.
Wait a minute here. You're going to give us affordable housing now? Oh my God, how generous of you. Who's been in office in the last 3 years while we've gotten the worst home affordability in the history of this nation? Oh, right. You really think that we are that stupid? And the answer is yes, we are that stupid. And that's why they're putting an ad like this. But then you look at the facts and the price increases since Kamala took office. Gasoline up 35%, electricity 28%, groceries 21%, wages 17%, so you're lagging all of these important essentials. Home prices up 16%, used cars up 14%, apparel 10%, medical care 8%. And these are the cooked numbers, of course. In reality, it's even more than that. But even with the cooked numbers, it looks bad for Kamala. I mean, how hard is it for the Republicans to rebuttal this? I can do the ads for you for free. Instead, they're talking about, radical liberal Kamala Harris. What? Who gives a shit? Radical liberal. Okay, we know that already. And for some voters, that's actually a good thing. The dumbest lines of attacks happening by the Republicans right now. It's so easy because they're dumbfounded. They planned all of these attacks against Joey B. The donors made a coup. They took Joey B out and they pushed Kamala in. And now they're confused. They have no lines. They have no preparation of how to take down Kamala. Well, it's really easy. Just show the facts. When Kamala says she wants to give us the home affordability, well, home affordability went down to the lowest level since 2007 under who? All you got to do is just show the chart. In 21, before Kamala took office, we had good affordability. Once she took office, the worst affordability in the history of the nation. Record low. Here's another chart you can use from the Atlanta Fed. Lower ratings mean less affordability. In 21, when she took office, we had good affordability. Then it sank to lows. Here's another one from the Atlanta Fed. The threshold for affordability should be no more than 30% of your income spent on housing. Well, gee, go back to 21, we had good affordability even in metro regions of the country. Here comes Kamala Harris, and we see the worst affordability. Now it takes about 44% of your income to afford a home in this country. Now, in reality, folks, is inflation really the fault of the Democrats or the Republicans or Biden or Trump or any of that? The answer is no. Inflation has always been a monetary phenomenon, as Dr. Friedman taught us. It's the Federal Reserve's fault. But when you play politics, you gotta be vicious. You gotta take the shot. And so far, the Republicans are not even trying. There was a moment in the recent rally by Donald Trump when he mentioned that. Just a moment. The rest of the rally was his routine, stand-up comedy, nothing more. But there was a moment when he hit it. And if they do more of that, the Republicans will take the lead. Take a look.
Yesterday, Kamala laid out her so-called economic plan. She says she's going to lower the cost of food and housing starting on day one. But day one for Kamala was 3.5 years ago. So why didn't she do it then?
Now, does the market really give a shit whether a Republican or a Democrat will take office? Not really. The market knows that both parties will serve the stock market at the end of the day. But what the market doesn't like is uncertainty, because it starts to plan ahead of time on the policies. So if we know that Kamala is ahead and she's going to win, the market will start making some moves and some preparation ahead of time. If all of a sudden Kamala loses the lead and Trump takes over, now we have to scramble all of these plans, causing volatility, and prepare for new plans. That's what the market doesn't like, the volatility, the uncertainty of who's going to win. Right now, we got some certainty, at least according to the polls. But as these plans begin to roll in, we'll think about them. So, for example, one positive to the market by the Kamala campaign, we talked about this on Twitter, is the fact that she's going to remove Lina Khan, which is good for the big companies, the Googles, the Amazons, because they're not going to be broken down. It's also good for the venture capitalists who want to dump a lot of shitty companies and exit in the market. It's good for Goldman Sachs, good for Morgan Stanley, the companies that would ride the IPOs and the dumping operations. But at the same time, if she's going to crack down on housing or she's going to raise corporate taxes, that's a negative that the market has to price in. You guys watching the DNC convention, whatever, that's going on right now? They say, we got to vote Kamala Harris to save democracy. But wait a minute, who voted for Kamala Harris, though? Did she win any, primaries? Not really. It was the donors who said, we don't want Joey B, and we're going to replace it with Kamala Harris. Is that democratic, really? Let's be honest here. Doesn't matter where you stand in the political spectrum. Republican, Democrat, doesn't matter to me. But is that really democracy? When we vote for the hand-picked candidate by the donors? In reality, folks, we have the Goldman Sachs administration, those are the Republicans, and we have the BlackRock administration, those are the Democrats. That's what it really boils down to. But we're getting more details about the Harris plan, So you got raising the corporate tax rate to 28%. Sounds good, right? The corporation's getting away with it. We should tax them. That's not good for the stock market, which is impacting retirees and all of this fake wealth effect that is keeping the economy afloat right now, the paper gains. But B, there's always a catch when they say, oh, we're going to raise the corporate tax rate to so-and-so. While they do that, at the same time, they create more loopholes. So on paper, the dummies, us, we say, oh, maybe we have equality in the economy right now. The corporations are paying 28% and I'm paying 40%. We're getting close here. We're closing the gap in taxation inequality. But the reality is that's on paper. The real corporate tax rate with the new loopholes is actually 10%, if not even lower. With the accounting gimmicks and with U.S. corporations moving the headquarters to Ireland, they're getting away with crime. And the reason is, don't believe it. When the donors and the BlackRocks and the corporations pick a candidate, you think they're not going to serve them? Think again. Quid pro quo. They pay, they get something in return. But more details on the Harris policy. So we talked about the price controls, the price gouging stuff, which is not real. It doesn't make sense at all. 28% corporate tax rate, wink, wink, but then 44.6% capital gains tax and a 25% tax on unrealized gains. Well, that's disastrous. When we talk about the 44.6 capital gains tax, what is the point of trading right now? We take insane risk, folks. You guys know how stressful this job is. And your question right now might be, then why are you doing this job? The answer is
cocaine and hookers, my friend.
But kidding aside, we all know why we're doing this job, because you're not going to make it in the real economy. You're going to get fixed income. You're not going to really make any change in the economic ladder, just working a job and saving like we did in the old days. You saved your money, you were able to buy a home, you afforded a car, you afforded creating a family, sending your kids to college, because there were higher interest rates. So you saved your money and you didn't need to gamble in the stock market. The rates were paying you 15% of your savings. Now you gotta gamble. You gotta go in the market and play the risk game. And should we be penalized for that? We're already paying 35%, sometimes more. If you're trading in California, for example, you're already paying 40 in capital gains taxes. You're going to pay over 50 now. What is the point? You take all of the risk, you make gains, they tax you 50% on it. Think about hedging if you're just using options to hedge your portfolio. Now you got to account for the fact that if you make profits in hedging your portfolio, you're paying 50% on the gains you made in the put options. They don't distinguish that this was a hedge on loss with the primary position. And if you lose trading and taking the risk, guess what? You can only deduct $2,000 a year if you're not filing as a trader. And to file as a trader, you need to make 700, 800 trades per year and assume even more risk. It's a bullshit, piece of shit policy and system that we have. Then the tax on unrealized gains, that's just stupid. So we're going to tax the paper gains that the oligarchy has? How are they going to pay taxes on the unrealized gains? They have to dump stocks. You're going to crash the market. Unbelievable. Again, I don't think she's going to do any of that. This is just red meat to the voters. But at the end of the day, she's not going to do anything to hurt the donors, the Bezos, the Googles, the Apples of the world. Which means at the end of the day, taxes will go up on you, baby, the regular folks. To pay for all of this spending on all of this deficit that we got in the debt, taxes are going higher. The question now becomes on who? If it's not the corporations, if it's not the oligarchy, if it's not reducing the insane spending, where do you think the taxation is coming from? And if your answer is us, you got it right. What are you going to do, not pay your taxes? You know, the IRS right now, they have arms. They gave them billions of dollars, tens of thousands of new agents. Now they use AI too. So they spot if you missed $40 or off the $400,000 that you paid in taxes last year, they're sending you a letter in the mail. They want the $40 to the penny. If you don't do it, they're going to come to your door with guns blazing. You see where we're heading to here, folks? This dystopian future.
When you hear that, do you potentially think that this new numbers could be a liability for this campaign?
No. When I hear that, first of all, I don't believe it because I've never heard Donald Trump say anything truthful.
It is, though, from the Bureau of Labor.
I'm not familiar with that.
Absolutely stunning, folks. She doesn't know about the BLS. She doesn't know about the revisions. She doesn't know about what the implications are to the economy now that we have over 800,000 jobs than we previously thought. And by the way, just so you know that we're living in a filth, manipulated garbage. All of that delaying by the BLS of releasing the data and the erratic movements that we've seen until the data was released. It must have fooled a lot of traders. They sucked them in initially, they were going higher, and then they flushed them down, and they sucked them back on the downside, only to move the tape higher again because the banksters got the data while the data was allegedly delayed. But they got the actual data and they were playing based upon that. Is this a free market? Once again, is this really a free market, free and fair market, when the banksters get the data before everybody and they get the position before everybody? How can we even trust the stock market reaction if it was manipulated today? I'll give you my 2 cents to why we see the market reacting another way versus the bonds, currency, and oil markets. But there could also be a mechanical reason because of this manipulation that we got before the data was released. And you get the actual reaction of the stock market tomorrow. In any case, you look at the revisions right here. We do have revisions up and down. That happens. But to this magnitude, the downside, unbelievable. Once again, the largest revision since the GFC. But the filth in the market wasn't just because of the delay of the data and the banksters getting it before everybody. We got another rug pull operation in the crypto market. Somebody hacked the Instagram account of McDonald's and placed this message right here. I'm not going to read it for you, but they manipulated Solana basically. And they did a pump and dump scheme. They cashed in $700K and they rugged the so-called investors who followed and got sucked into the pump. With all of this that's going on in the market right now, no cop in the beat, no regulations, no watchdog, just pure filth in the market, manipulation and rigging all the time. With all of that, Kamala Harris wants to nominate Gary Gensler as the next Treasury Secretary. And by the way, Orange Man is not any better either. He wants to nominate Jamie Dimon. Folks, we're screwed here. As a nation, we're
A big theme here at the DNC is that they're going to go after corporate gouging, and they're going to go after corporations, whether it's in taxes, largesse, loopholes. The RNC, we heard the same thing. They're going after the elites, the 2 sets of rules. Let me reveal a reality to you that has to be spoken to here, okay? These are the soldiers. These are the men and the women that go back to their constituencies and their communities, and they fight. They take time from their jobs. They take time from their families. Republicans and Democrats alike, that's what they do. They need to charge these people up. They need to be able to get them on board. But there's another reality that is literally looking down on them. Greg, look at the ring of sweets, okay? This is not unique to Democrats. There is a game of money. When people talk about uniparty, we are strangled by the money reality in our politics. Those suites start at 500 grand. You think there's like a teacher group up in there? You think it's like the Cub Scouts of Columbia County, South Carolina, that's up in those boxes? Some of them are lobbies and good things. The media boxes, you think they're free? Why do you think I'm on the floor? News Nation is not a broke company. Nexstar is a massive organization. We are corporate media. We don't have one of those boxes because that's the game. You pay to play. Those boxes are filled with the same people that they say they're going to regulate. They are literally looking down on the faithful and being told, yeah, we're going to break down on them. We're going to make them pay their share. They paid $500,000, $700,000, $1 million, $1.5 million to have those seats. They get hotel suites that are probably gifted to the party. And the same thing is true with the Republican side. And they're going to take them down. They're going to change how it is. They are looking down from on high at the people who make the difference in their communities. And that is the reality of politics.
That's the way Pop wanted it. It ain't the